topic today is going to be inspired by Durin, and it's reflections on innocence and vulnerability and how you might maintain that. And um, reflections on innocence and vulnerability gets me thinking about maintaining it. I don't know if I want to maintain my innocence. I feel like it's gone. But I would love if Corinne would give us just a couple sentences to help us take off on our exploring of it.
It's interesting because when I contemplate this, I go a little bit blank, um, to be honest. And I thought, why is this so difficult to articulate? Because I know I'm in touch with this all the time.
Uh-huh.
I did something interesting. I went on YouTube, which I do a lot, and I typed in innocence and vulnerability. The videos were sparse and had like 0 to 100 views when you do that search.
Mm.
That's not to say there's no innocence and vulnerability on YouTube, because we know there's all those baby videos and animal videos. So it got me thinking that, we feel it, we know what it is when we see it, we are outraged when it's violated, but I don't know if we really articulate it. And what was super interesting too with YouTube, with that specific search, was there was a video that came up from a band called Enigma, and it's called The Return to Innocence. And
Mm.
it had like 167 million views. Is it from the 90s? I'm not sure. It's a really cool song. I'd never heard it.
I think I
And the
know that
comment,
song.
yeah, it's a beautiful song. It has Native American vocals in it too. And the comments in it were just so touching. And it was people reflecting on this very topic. And I just thought that whole little exploration I had this morning was interesting, and that's why it kind of came up for me. So I think yeah, I don't think my innocence is gone, and I think I've been disrespected sometimes by my peers because I unapologetically express it and maintain it. And that is to say, just like doing something that a kid might do, or in a way that a kid might do it, it's kind of immature. Um, but I'm not letting it go nonetheless. So I don't know if that kicks anything off for anybody. I'll stop here and see if anything's come up so far for anybody.
Are you talking about also kind of remaining childlike in the way you go
That's
about
what
your
I was going to
life,
say.
Durin?
That's a component. That's certainly a trajectory that could be we could take on it. There's a lot I found when I kind of did get into it and started kind of writing my questions down, because it was my contemplation ended up being filled with questions. But
Yeah.
and I know that people talk about being childlike as a way of maintaining it. And I think that's a pretty well explored path, and certainly valid. So if anybody has anything to share there, for sure.
Yeah. Let's go to Julie.
Yeah, all I was going to say is the first thing that kept coming up for me is child, your inner child, to allow yourself to I don't know, release or just be that inner child, and which to me is innocence and vulnerability. But let's see, the reflections on it. And to maintain that, I think you just have to have a sense of awareness about, I guess, who you are, and and I don't know, it's part of being. Um,
Yeah, it's not easy to articulate, is it?
No,
Yeah,
but
that's what I found.
mostly for me, it would be to allow yourself to not be jaded. You know what I mean? And um, I don't know. I can get pretty silly, and I only
Hmm.
do that around my niece and my husband. So, and it's fun. It's really fun. So I don't know. Now I'm just kind of going off. I'm done.
Let's go to Barbara.
Yeah, I was just kind of getting caught up in what Julie was saying and kind of lost what I was thinking of, but that's okay. I'll just follow and when I read this during earlier, I was thinking of an incident actually that happened yesterday. Um, and I did something that was very disrespectful to my husband and unintentionally, with well-meaning and everything, but it was just, and so we talked about it and I apologized profusely and then I felt like I had, made him like a little bit vulnerable and asked him, and he said yes. And then he thanked me for recognizing that. And then I felt like I was kind of being vulnerable by apologizing and owning my big screw up. And then later I was thinking about it and trying to, kind of dig a little deeper. And would that benefit me to go think about it more? And I had thought about a video I just watched earlier in the day as far as um, Rupert Spira. I just love watching him. He always has something that's just so perfect. And somebody was talking with him about how what do you do when you're being disrespected by somebody and I can say to myself, "Oh, I'm a spiritual being and I love everybody," but it's still, you're still really affected by what they're saying. And his response is which I was able to incorporate last evening when I was thinking about this is somebody says something to you and or you say something to yourself in my case and you get like your back up, oh, that really hurt me, I'm angry, it made me feel bad and I don't like hearing that. And that's all resistance, whether it's good, bad, or ugly, it's resistance. And he's like, if you just approach it with total non-resistance of your eternal being, whatever they say to you just kind of floats right through. It's like you're a window and it just floats right through. And if you can remind yourself of that enough and maintain that, then you're not reacting to what they're saying. You can still deal with it. In this lady's case, her boss was giving her a hard time or something like that. And he said, you can still deal with that and respond to it, but you won't be reacting to it from your emotion. You'll be responding to it from your kind of higher being place. And I've found that when I can remember that, it's so forgiving and
Does it take you
it's
back to feeling a little bit more innocent before this person started
it
their onslaught of stuff?
I think that it's basically removing the judgment and opening up my own vulnerability, but making it okay, to be vulnerable and to offer grace, I think, to those out there who are harming me because I know that we're all doing the best we can, and like when I did that, I was just trying to do something that was a good thing, and it just didn't work out. But very often we don't intentionally go to hurt somebody, but even if we do, that's their thing, and I'm the one who receives it the way I want to receive it, and to me, that's maintaining that both vulnerability and innocence because I just let it go through. And, it's like I look at it, I don't know, from a different place or something. So anyway, that's just my share.
I think that story is uncanny how it really fits into uh, how Doreen worded the topic because it's it's like if you if you react to something in any sort of defensive way, you've already have been hurt in the past and your innocence is gone. But if you can grow and learn and know that if you give up the resistance of fighting back, you're hurting my feelings, and just rejoin what it was to be innocent in the first place before you were hurt and traumatized and
Mhm.
needed to have a defense, then you can maybe have a tool to go on and deal with things differently there moving forward. So that's like a perfect example of returning back to the innocence when, yeah, just love. And Anka, you raised your hand for 1 minute. Did you have something to add? Go ahead and unmute.
Yes, I want to say that people say about me that I'm innocent and like a child, and I have 32 years and they give me 20 or something.
Yeah.
And do you think of yourself that way, Anka? Do you think they're
I think
labeling you wrong?
I want to keep the inner child. I want to keep more and more, but I want to be in the same time made to be seen more mature than an innocent people or the I don't know.
Yeah. Uh, it it's I think be true to yourself, and there comes a point, you know what? There comes a point in maturing where you don't care what other people think of you. Let's hear what Doreen has to say.
Um, yeah, I just wanted to share that laughter and giggling is really a big return to innocence. Working with people with dementia and Alzheimer's, at least the sense of humor stays. Those connections aren't lost, and you can giggle and laugh and make jokes, and there is no dementia, and in fact, it enhances the whole thing. It makes things even better. Often actually, um, and so yeah, I think that's a great way to stay in touch and manifest being vulnerable and innocent is, like Julie said, being silly. And I think people who can't be silly, I think they're the ones that are causing the most harm out that we're seeing. Um, if you kind of look at these people, and go, yeah, I can't picture them being silly. I don't think they know how anymore.
Yeah. Go ahead, Mary. Just make sure you unmute.
I think this language gets in the way always for me. And part of it is that innocence is lovely and beautiful, but we also can see it as being naive, which is very a negative, it's a judgment. And also it's like from the moment we're born on this planet, it's like the first thing that happens is the doctor picks us up by the ankles and swats us on the butt so that we cry. And it's like the first betrayal. It's before we can even be aware of what's going on. So for me, innocence is trying to see with an assumption of good intent, trying to see without judgment, and it's always an effort because of our socialization and past experience. But I think even though it's an effort, a lot of times it can become automatic. I'm not there yet, but I think it may be coming along. I hope.
Yeah. Robert says in the chat, the slap on the butt. Welcome to Earth. It may not get any better.
Yeah.
Yeah, a slap on a butt and a whole bunch of vaccinations. Welcome to planet Earth.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's immigration.
The other thing that came to my mind was in the bigger picture, it seems like I'm going to say most nonprofit organizations are formed from being outraged about the violation of innocence.
Mhm.
And so they have kind of sprung up in response to, I guess, the sort of onslaught we're experiencing of sociopathic and psychopathic and megalomaniac mental states. That's a that's one place where you can look and go, oh yeah, innocence and vulnerability. Well, that's being played out on the big stage with the nonprofits and it's there too. Doesn't come up in YouTube search, but I thought, oh yeah, that's a big place where we can use some of that too.
It's a huge issue in the news right now with the outrage over what may or may not be in the files. The betrayal of innocence and vulnerability.
That's true. One thing I was thinking as Doreen was talking was about, I started thinking about my Uncle Arnold that I grew up with that was mentally disabled. And I got to thinking, did he maintain his innocence, through his 60 some years of age? I don't know if he exactly maintained his innocence, but he definitely maintained just his simplicity and just looking at the world through love goggles, love lenses. And um I would probably imagine he encountered a lot of stuff that could break his innocence, but he maintained it through just how he lived his life, and everything was a vision of love. He was a big part of my life. And just it was the simple things. It was the parades, and it was the new fast food restaurant being opened. Oh my gosh, the opening of Walmart. That was just, those were just the fun times. Go ahead, Barbara.
I like that reminder, Chelsea. And to me it just seems like just being low maintenance, living a low maintenance life. And oh, and by the way, my comment was slap on the butt. Welcome to Earth. It may or may not get better. So there's
Oh,
always a choice or an option. But yeah, what you were saying about your cousin or your uncle, it is. I remember when my son was really young and I'd look at the world through his eyes the first time he ever saw something, the first time he held something, and just the joy he'd get from looking at a big red flower and reliving that. And I remember thinking to myself, I just need to hold on to this and carry this sense of wonder with me. And I think that that is part of maintaining that joy and that innocence and the vulnerability is a little harder, but being willing to, allow that, I guess. It's a gift, I think. It's not easy, but I think that it always pays off. Go ahead, Billy.
To back up what you said, in my brain, I'm like innocence and vulnerability. And we started out talking about children, and children have no sense of that. But when you started talking about people with disabilities and the innocence there, I used to commute a lot. And, sometimes we look at people that have disabilities, Down syndrome, whatever. And there used to be a guy on the bus that I would see regularly, or when I was like downtown at Pioneer Square, people would bring their groups of Downs kids or whatever. And so that made me think of the innocence. They were there, they were experiencing the moment. They didn't have all of these outside pressures, they didn't have all of the obligations that get put upon us. And we are always trying to adapt to our surroundings. We are trying to please our boss, our parents, our children, or whatever. And there was this one guy on the bus, and he'd sit up at the front. And depending on how you wanted to look at it, he was either disgusting or he was in his innocence and in heaven because he didn't have those worries. He would sit there and he would jam his finger up his nose and then he would wipe it up and down his pants. And I saw that so many times, and it's like, you know what? He's there, and there's not a problem in the world with him. He's just fine. And then again, the Downs people, I love seeing them out in public. It's like, we should all be so
Yeah. Go ahead, Gino.
Yeah, it just came to me the whole thing about vulnerability and all of that. And, I have a long history related to that. And, as a kid, I was just extremely shy, very, very shy. And all through up to senior year in high school. And then one day we saw a notice that said to try out for the senior play. And I always fashioned myself as, somebody that was really funny and somebody who could act and all this stuff. I just never expressed it. It was all inside. So, I says, okay, and then we did a little reading of some things, and I thought, well, okay, maybe I'll just be somebody that walks on and walks off the stage. Wouldn't you believe it? They give me the lead male part in the show. And I go, what? It was like, I can't do that. No way, right? So I did it. And we did it for 2 nights in a row. And it was a success and everything else. From there, it didn't really help me break through that much of my shyness, but I just kept trying and trying and trying, and then when I got older, I started taking comedy improv classes. And they would have been fun if I didn't feel so much shyness and pain, but I kept trying, trying, trying. I wasn't going to quit. And I remember we'd go to see the Science of Mind minister, and she said, what you have to do is play in full out self-expression in your whole life. Do that. And I thought, that's me, I'm going to do it. And I've kept that all these years. Well, I did different kinds of improv classes where it was comedy, when it was drama, where we just made up, a scene and did it for everybody. And I did all these things. And I must say, it gave me a lot more confidence, especially at work. I could do presentations quite easily, where before I was scared shitless. And so it helped a lot. And I mean, humor to me is paramount in life. I've heard some of you say something akin to that. So yeah, play out in full self-expression.
Let's go to Doreen, and then maybe Anka would like to share. I feel like if I read what you've put in the chat, I might destroy it and not get the full vibe across. But let's go to Doreen first.
I I just speaking of cracking up, I just want to say there are some individuals I'm sharing this planet with who I wish would spend more time jamming their fingers up their noses and wiping their boogers on their pants than trying to control my life. That's it. I'm done. I'm out. Mic drop.
Anka, would you go ahead and share? Give us the
Yes,
gist of what you're sharing.
I want to thank you to all the people that believed in me and to you, all of you from here and from the Solomon group and to teachers, to I don't know, to every people that believes in me. Cause this makes me to trust in me and not to doubt and to go on with my inner child open to life, open to bigger actions and something like this.
I think that's great.
From a child, I was struggling with innocence, very much innocence, and it's hard sometimes when people say to you, you don't look so mature, you look 16, 20 years. But now I'm a little more mature because I don't know, older, I hope.
I feel like what you were explaining was that there was like a period maybe a couple of years ago where you were looking for your compass outside of yourself, like out there, somebody will tell me where to go, what to do, how to feel. But I feel like you realize now the compass is
Yes,
inside you. Yes. And
yes, 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 it's true.
go ahead, Gino.
Yeah, I don't know if what I said hit home with anybody, but Anka, I want to encourage you to laugh a lot. Whenever you see some comedy show, do whatever you can to laugh and start really enjoying it. Don't take yourself too seriously like I did. There's a lot out there and you can express yourself all you want. Okay? Just
Okay,
know that we
thank
all
you,
love you.
Gino.
We all love you.
And a
Thank you very
good
much.
place to laugh is when you make a mistake. Let's
Oh, I I don't know sometimes how to treat the mistakes, and sometimes I laugh because somebody laughs because I make a joke that for me is reality. I don't know
mhm.
how to say. Is ironic?
It's yearning. Is that what you said?
Ironic
Ironic.
stuff
Oh,
like
ironic?
ironic,
Yeah.
yes.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Um, I'm gonna read what Gordy put in the chat really quick, and then we'll go to Barbara, and then we're gonna wrap it up with Billy. Gordy says, my standard response to coworkers voicing their displeasure with an issue is it could always be worse. They usually have a positive reply along the lines of, yes, it definitely could. And let's go to Barbara.
I love that, Gordy. Thank you, because that's so true. And actually, I had something that happened to me one time, and I thought, oh, this is like the worst thing that could ever happen. And then I got a call on the phone from this policeman who told me that a car that I had just recently sold was involved in an accident. The title hadn't been transferred over yet, and the guy was telling me how I was going to be responsible for paying all the cars that this guy had hit. So I hung up and I was going to either cry or laugh. And I decided to start laughing because it's like, okay, the universe has told me that it could be worse after all. So I'm just going to take it from there. So, and thanks, Gordy. I wanted to thank you, Anka, and let you know how just by sharing that you were willing to step up and be vulnerable with us. And I appreciate that. And I just wanted to let you know, I think that it was very brave of you. So good job, dear. Thanks.
So
I'm done.
when the subject of mistakes came up, there's something that I keep in my head. We think that it's bad or something, whatever's going to happen. And for me, we learn more from making a mistake than we do from doing something perfectly. So I like to keep that in mind. Oh, okay, to do blah blah blah. You can't do this, you can't do this, you can't do this. And then you've tried all these other things that might work for something else. But mistakes are beautiful learning opportunities in life.
Mhm. I agree.
Yes. Yes. Perfect way to wrap it up. And we can always expand next week. Thank you for joining us, everyone. And um, stay childlike and have a fun week. And notice yourself laughing if it comes about. And love you all.
Thank you,
Bye-bye.
thank
Thanks,
you.
everybody.